Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, a Victory Monday. Very, very, very beautiful Victory Monday here on the channel where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What's going on, everybody? Just a quick roll call here. Did anybody do, see, or experience anything exhilarating or awesome this week? I'll even narrow it down to just yesterday. How was everybody's yesterday? I think we all know the answer to that. We all know why we are here on this Monday with spirits so high right now. You would need to hop in a Boeing 747 to reach that type of altitude. Yesterday, fantastic day in the city of Pittsburgh, especially in the sports world related to the city of Pittsburgh. The local football team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in an instant classic last night with their biggest rival, the Baltimore Ravens. They pulled off one of the most mind-blowing victories that we probably will ever see. In the process, the Steelers becoming AFC North champions, and in the process also punching their ticket to the postseason yet again. There is so much to talk about that game last night on Sunday Night Football, including a short recap we'll do here in a moment on how that game played out, what, or more correctly, who is next up on the docket for the Steelers. And as usual here on the channel, for those of you who are returning, we will do winners and losers from last night's contest as well. After that, after we're done doing some in-depth Steelers talk, we will get into some other good news about the other two professional Pittsburgh sports teams, the Penguins and the Pirates. The Penguins, they had a fantastic weekend of their own, playing two more games that were both very entertaining, and the Penguins walking away from those games with massive success. The Pittsburgh Pirates, too, we'll talk about them. They did miss out on the sweepstakes for Japanese third baseman Kazuma Okamoto, but there is still a good chunk of solid free agents that the Pirates are now being linked to that really pique my interest. We will get to a little bit later on in the show. Before we get this party started, because quite honestly, it is going to be a party feel here on the channel tonight after that game last night. Before we get into all of that, we head to the comment section. And also, I tell you that if you are new here, welcome to the channel. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel again. And in the comments section, any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, get those in there. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And come back a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR60. To the comments, we start off. It's party time here. What's good, winners, says Flacco. Victory Monday from Freight Train. Still cannot believe it. How many hours of sleep did each and every one of you get? I'll be honest, probably I'm around the 4 range hours of sleep. I don't know how the hell the Steelers or anybody expected us to go to sleep immediately after that game last night. I was up for quite a while. I know you guys were as well. Mean Green in here. Welcome, Mean Green. Our Pittsburgh Steelers, AFC North champions. Let's enjoy this one, Victory Monday, a sweet one today indeed. Today, all about celebration. Victory Monday. After that, probably Tuesday onwards, we will then begin to lock in on next Monday. Around this time next Monday, we will be prepping ourselves for the Steelers on a Monday Night Football matchup. Their opponent revealed yesterday afternoon, and the time of that game revealed last night after the game. So we'll get into all of that after we do a recap of the Ravens game. Freight Train yesterday for Pittsburgh sports fans, an incredible day that we shall not soon forget. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Freight Train started at around 3 o'clock. The Penguins, they looked like they were in trouble against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They pull off the unthinkable. And then the Steelers, they follow suit about, I'd say, from the ending of the Penguins game, I'd say they follow suit about 5 or so hours later. So insane, just completely incredible day for the city of Pittsburgh. We will get to all of that here in a moment. 8 of you in here right now. I'm sure a whole bunch more of you, Concepts, THP, those guys, they might stop in later. Just incredible. We are starting tonight's show with the Steelers versus the Ravens. That incredible game last night. Let's real quick pop up the banner for that. An instant classic, people are calling it, and I definitely agree with that 100%. I think you're going to see that game when you flip through the guide on your TV and you see, oh, this NFL classic from 2025 season. That game will definitely pop up. So the Steelers, AFC North champions, taking down the Baltimore Ravens last night in incredible fashion. Really, this game, it'll probably be one that, this recap of this game, it'll probably be one that bounces all over the place like I am here going to be doing, trying to explain it. The Steelers, Ravens, Week 18, AFC North Division title, and a playoff berth on the line. The Steelers, they come into the game fairly healthy. No major starters out. Baltimore, they were fairly spotless as well from an injury standpoint. Their number 3 wide receiver, Rashad Bateman, who hasn't done a whole lot this season, he was the only notable name out for the Ravens yesterday. So these two teams, no excuses from an injury standpoint on winning or losing this game. The vibes, though, coming into last night's game, after missing the opportunity against the Cleveland Browns a week prior to clinch the division, the Steelers and Steelers fans, I think, were feeling a little bit low, but hey, the game in the division was still in front of them. They just needed to win that one game. A week prior, also, the Ravens, they got a massive shot of adrenaline. They get help from the Brownies, and they also beat another playoff caliber team in the Green Bay Packers. Those vibes, the Ravens flying high, the Steelers trying to rebound, that pretty much carried into the beginning of that game last night. Very first play of the game, Ravens on offense, Derrick Henry up the right side of the field for a 47-yard gain. Some of the run was taken off the books by an illegal blocking penalty on Zay Flowers, but that little hiccup was no problem. A few plays later, Lamar Jackson hits Devontae Walker streaking up the field, middle of the field, behind everyone. A 38-yard touchdown pass from Jackson to Walker. Busted coverage on the play by Jalen Ramsey. Going down 7-0 immediately. Steelers offense, they responded with some similar success that they had against the Browns, that is. And by success against the Brown, I mean they did absolutely nothing. They looked terrible, went 3 and out. Baltimore looked to go back on the march again. A little help from the officials. They called a terrible roughing the passer call on Y.A. Black. That's the second straight week that a horrendous roughing the passer call has gone against the Steelers. But thankfully, that roughing the passer call was a moot point. Nick Herbig, Area 51, a big sack from him, loss of 13 on the play. Herbig actually blitzed from middle linebacker there, so moving him around a little bit. I liked seeing that. That forced the Ravens to punt. Steelers offense, they did little on their second possession, but rather than a punt this time, on 4th and 1 from their own 45, they ran the tush-push play with the Hayward brothers, Cam filling in for an injured Darnell Washington. The tush-push, unsuccessful. Turnover on downs. The Ravens getting the ball already in Steelers territory. Again, the Ravens, they tried to feed Derrick Henry the ball, but another sack, this time from Derek Harmon. The other Derek, maybe even the better Derek, who knows? That's up for debate. That sack from Harmon stalled out the Ravens' drive at the 22, forcing them to settle for a field goal. Pittsburgh responded with a field goal of their own over 4 minutes later. The running game spun its tires a little bit, but the passing game, they were able to take the Steelers across midfield into Baltimore territory. A questionable decision, though, from Aaron Rodgers ended the drive. He was scrambling out to the right out of pressure, was looking downfield for an open receiver. Nothing came open. Could have tucked it and ran, in my opinion, but just kept on looking and looking until he was ran down by, I think, Tavius Robinson. So the Steelers, they do nothing there. From the midfield logo, Chris Boswell drills a 57-yard attempt to salvage at least a little bit of that drive, getting their feet under themselves some more. The Steelers defense, they forced a 3-and-out for the Ravens offense that featured a high IQ sack from Alex Highsmith. You will not see a more do-it-yourself play than what Highsmith did there. Prevented a screenplay from developing, then took down the quarterback, jumped up in the air, didn't allow Lamar to get the ball out, and then is able to track him down for the loss on the play. One-upping the Ravens, though, Aaron Rodgers, 3 straight incompletions. Steelers immediately punt the ball back to Baltimore. A 21-yard run right off the bat for Henry took the Ravens back into Steelers country, but a critical third down holding penalty on Tyler Linderbaum, the center, that put the Ravens out of field goal range, forcing them to punt as well. Given a little over 3 minutes to try to tie up the game before halftime, the 2-minute passing offense for the Steelers got going. Steelers quickly got into field goal range. 3 plays of over 10 yards from the Steelers. That got them down to the 24-yard line. But from there, the rest of the way in, it was a slow process for the Steelers. The Ravens defense, they bent some more, but unfortunately, they did not break. Even though the black and gold were given a golden opportunity thanks to a defensive pass interference penalty, that set them up for one play with 2 seconds left at the 1-yard line to score a touchdown. And I think we all at the time loved the aggressiveness in that spot from the Steelers, going for the touchdown instead of the field goal. But then they just had to go out and do this terrible pitch run play that was diagnosed and stopped without any threat of reaching the end zone. So the Steelers, heading into halftime, they, in a rotten way, end an overall uncompetitive, unproductive first half offensively, and they do not get a single point there at the end of it. Steelers defense, yeah, we felt good about them. They were holding the Ravens to just 10 points at that time in the game, but we did have that worry start to creep in that they would get fatigued with the number of snaps that they were playing in the offense. Again, looking pretty lifeless. Every yard gained was as difficult as pulling teeth. So, yeah, not looking good for the Steelers at halftime. But then, fortunately, though we had little faith in the offense, they were in a situation that they have been in a lot this season, and they have been successful in said situation. That being in a 1-score game, getting the ball back on offense to start the second half. And wouldn't you believe it, they came out of half and got things going. The running game started to move the ball a little bit more. That opened up the passing game. A 28-yard connection between Aaron Rodgers and Adam Thielen. That took the Steelers all the way down to the Baltimore 11. 5 plays later, Steelers on, I believe, 4th and goal from the half-yard line. Cam Hayward, he powers his little brother Connor across the goal line for the game-tying touchdown. I'm sure Ironhead Craig Hayward is smiling down from heaven on that one, watching his boys score a touchdown. The momentum fully shifted in the Steelers' direction when the defense picked up right where they left off in the first half. They stuffed a first down run by Derrick Henry. They then batted down a Lamar Jackson pass at the line. And then the pass rushers got their hands on the football once more. Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, both of those guys at the same time swatting a third down pass in the direction of TJ Watt, who was Johnny on the spot for the interception. His first game back from lung injury. TJ does his thing on a short field. Steelers offense trying to capitalize off the defensive turnover. But this time around, the Ravens defense, they firmed up at the 7 and left the Steelers with no other choice but to kick a field goal. Ravens offense continued to sputter. Black and gold, they kept clogging up the running game, allowing Henry no room to operate. The Ravens, they put the ball in the hands of their banged-up quarterback more. That resulted in the Ravens punting again. The Steelers, though, on offense, couldn't do anything. The Ravens defense, they showed fight, derailing the Steelers' drive as they were approaching midfield. That's another punt back to the Ravens offense for the Steelers. With just 11 minutes to go, that is when we went on the roller coaster of a lifetime and all hell broke loose. The Ravens offense, coming out of halftime, completely DOA they looked. And the way the Steelers defense was looking, you were expecting them to continue doing more good things. And also, Renegade just played right before this Ravens drive. That is when Baltimore arose from the grave on offense. The fourth play of the drive, Lamar Jackson, I still have no idea how he did it and how the hell he was not taken down. He slips out of the grasp of, I think, Alex Highsmith and Patrick Queen, who blitzed him untouched, steps up, evades danger, and delivers a 50-yard bucket to Zay Flowers, who for some reason was being covered by another linebacker on the play down the middle of the field for a lead-changing touchdown. Felt like another dagger in the Steelers' hopes and dreams. But with a little help on a botched kickoff, putting the ball at the 40, the offense of the Steelers responded. The running game, the passing game, a steady mix of both of those things. The biggest play, a gasp 31-yard hookup to gasp Pat Freiermuth over gasp the middle of the field. Freiermuth getting the ball over the middle of the field for a big game, something completely inconceivable in the minds of Steelers fans. Yet we saw it with our own eyes. That was the biggest play of a 8-play, 60-yard touchdown drive. It was capped off with a Kenneth Gainwell rushing touchdown. Though they reclaimed the lead, the Steelers, that drive did not come without a negative in the moment. Multiple malfunctions, I think, were happening with Aaron Rodgers and his helmet speaker. Could not hear Arthur Smith making any play calls. That forced the Steelers to burn their final 2 timeouts. In my opinion there, Rodgers, I know you can't hear the play call. You're one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Just draw stuff up in the dirt until you can figure it out on the sidelines during a commercial break or something here. So that was the downside of that drive. The Steelers, with, I think, around 8 minutes left, had 0 timeouts remaining. Down by 4 again. Or excuse me, the ball once again following the Steelers' touchdown. The Ravens, they threw another haymaker. 3rd down, 3rd and 1 to be exactly. Lamar Jackson fakes a toss to Derrick Henry on the right. The Steelers just looking to stop Henry. They loaded up the box and the entire defense shifted to the right on that play. That left Zay Flowers wide freaking open. Left side of the field. He catches it and no one around him, just jogs into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown. Just another broken play. Poor coverage by the Steelers. We have no idea what the hell happened, and we were flustered, fed up at that point. Just same guy, same play that I think was thrown to Devontae Walker earlier in the game, and it burned the Steelers twice. Unbelievable. So, Steelers down by 4 again. Only a little over 2 minutes remaining. Vibes again were low, but I believe it was THP. Not sure if he's in here right now. THP last night putting in the comment section saying that as a Cowboys fan, he's seen this story too many times before, said that Rodgers was going to put on the Superman cape one more time, and from his keyboard to God's ears, it happened again. Starting from the 35, AR, 2 completions over 15 yards on his first 3 passes of the drive. Hit a bit of a speed bump at the Baltimore 26 with 2 incompletions, but on a massive 3rd and 10, he saw a returning Calvin Austin III absolutely juke Ravens corner Chidobe Awuzie out of his cleats on a go route, and he floated the ball on the money to Austin down the left sideline for another touchdown. A damn near picture perfect 2-minute drill ran by Rodgers. And the offense, they got the touchdown that they needed, and they only left 55 seconds on the clock for the Ravens. Spirits lifted once again, but a hideous trend that haunted the Steelers the previous 2 weeks, it reared its ugly head again. Chris Boswell misses a chip shot point after try wide right, leaving the score at 26-24, opening the door for the Ravens to, instead of tie the game with a field goal, win the game with a field goal. Uneasy hush came over the crowd in the stands, came over Steelers fans all around the nation, including here. If you guys were here last night, you saw me on stream, me and my dad, just dead silent after Boz missed that. That silence grew even louder. Another special teams blunder happened on the kickoff. While the Ravens were returning it, Keaton Mitchell weaved through traffic, returned the ball all the way to the 47. Needing one last stop, the Steelers defense raised our hopes. They immediately put the Ravens into a 4th and 7 scenario exactly at the midfield stripe with just 21 seconds remaining. Pulling a rabbit out of his ass once more, Lamar Jackson completes one last deep ball, a 26-yarder to Isaiah Likely for the first down, putting the Ravens well in field goal range. Jalen Ramsey, he mistimes his jump to break up the pass. For some reason, Alex Highsmith was back in pass coverage again. Why we're still dropping linebackers into coverage, I have no clue. And Jackson, with one timeout, moves over to the middle of the field, kneels it down. The Ravens take a timeout with 2 seconds left to kick the game-winning field goal. Shell-shocked by what we just witnessed, everyone looks on as Ravens kicker Tyler Loop jogged onto the field to end the Steelers season. The camera panned to a disheveled Aaron Rodgers, who it was maybe going to be his final game of his career, as he looked on in disgust. I think the Ravens kick holder and punter Justin Stout, as the Ravens were getting set up, he gave a little bit of a subtle giddy smile to Loop, and Loop set up for a 44-yard field goal attempt. That is when God, beautiful almighty God, when we were at our lowest, he, the good Lord, smiles down on Acrisure Stadium as Loop's kick started straight but tailed off to the right and missed the uprights. According to Opta Stats, this is an insane statistic. According to Opta Stats, there have been over 60,000 field goal attempts in NFL history. Not one of those attempts came with time expiring in the fourth quarter in the final week of the regular season, with the playoff fates of both teams hanging in the balance until that Loop missed field goal. Acrisure Stadium erupts. Steelers fans turn the north shore of Pittsburgh into a mad haven. Players storm the field. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, in truly divine intervention, miraculous fashion, win the AFC North title for the first time since 2020, and they punch their ticket to the playoffs. The fourth quarter of this game will be spoken of for generations, as in the final 8 minutes and 52 seconds, we saw 4 touchdowns, 4 lead changes, and 2 missed kicks. Absolute cinema. The most insane game that probably any of us here right now will watch. And to any Baltimore fan out there that is crying a river saying that Ben Skoranek had a leverage penalty that was missed on the final kick. You're just grasping for excuses. There was no leverage, so please just take your L with some dignity. The last thing that I want to mention on this recap, I mentioned a moment ago that it was a miraculous ending, divine intervention, God smiling down on Acrisure Stadium. I say that because the powers greater than us were literally present on that field last night. About 2 hours before kickoff last night, a priest from St. Vincent College, where the Steelers host their training camp every year, by the name of Maximilian Maxwell, phenomenal name, put him in consideration for the next pope. He, before the game, walked around the end zones at Acrisure Stadium, sprinkling holy water on the playing surface. And lo and behold, about 5 hours later or so, the same end zone that he was videoed spreading that water was the end zone that Loop missed the kick. So today, I put it in the headline for today's show, put it in the title of today's show. We can say with certainty and clarity, God is a Yinzer. There's no other explanation for how that happened. Good God Almighty is a Yinzer. I love this team. I love this city. I love each and every single one of you that was here with me last night. I'm still just speechless. I don't know how you can be speechless of what happened last night. But somehow, some way, the Steelers, they win the North. They down the Ravens one more time and are on their way to the postseason. After the game last night, we heard from Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, who, congratulations to Tomlin, in stylish and crazy fashion, ties Chuck Noll for the all-time wins record in Steelers history at 192 regular season wins. Tomlin, after the game, giving kudos to the Ravens, saying this is another chapter written in this historic rivalry. Dropped a new Tomlinism about if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle, when asked, what would happen if the Ravens had made that kick. So Tomlin, he's fired up. Steelers players, they were fired up as well. They already had the shirts and hats printed. The AFC Division champ shirts for the Steelers, been there, won that. Smoke and music pouring out of the Steelers locker room. TJ Watt spoke after the game. Good news from him, returning from his lung injury, did not show any sort of sign of, sluggishness or needing to get back into football shape from Watt. I'd have to go look at his snap count, but I'd say TJ, for when he was out there, didn't look like he had too much of a decrease in his normal budget of snaps. He played phenomenal, showed no ill effects of his lung injury. Watt said that his legs feel fresh and that was exciting. Also said TJ that was arguably the best atmosphere that he has been a part of in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium. So Watt giving a shout out to the crowd. Also heard from Aaron Rodgers, said that game winning, now that we know hindsight, that game winning touchdown pass to Calvin Austin was something that they have been trying to connect on going all the way back to training camp. That was something that they always wanted to do since Latrobe. And he said he smiled when he saw Cal wide open and he hit him. Just a crazy play there. No one was expecting the touchdown to come in that moment. Also, Rodgers did confirm that the helmet headset connection was malfunctioning and it was chaos there, but he was glad to get a good call in on that third down. So just Steelers, players, coaches, fans, all of us still reeling with unspeakable enthusiasm. You can't explain or process yet what happened, but you're just still so overjoyed by it in the meantime. Instant classic, insane game. The Ravens, they probably this morning opened up their laptops, were looking at flight prices down to Cancun. All the Steelers, they win the North. Once again, champs of the North. They head to the playoffs, where now, this time, like I said, to kick off the show, this time, 1 week from now, we will get ready for the Steelers to host for, I think, the first time since 2017, 2018. They will host a home playoff game, Monday Night Football, 8 o'clock on ESPN against the Houston Texans. Much to get excited for in this game. Beyond this, this win, call it fluky, call it luck, call it whatever you want for the Steelers. That win last night, I think that is a shot of adrenaline into the soul of that team that they are going to take into this game 1 week from now and try to unleash it on the Texans. And also, riddle me this. When is the last time that you saw the Steelers heading into the playoffs where every single key player and big gun that they have is healthy and feeling good? Aaron Rodgers, only missing one game this season, said himself a couple weeks ago he gets better as the season goes along. Might have dinged up his wrist a little bit again last night, but I think, he'll be able to still manage it like he has been already. DK Metcalf, by the way, coming back from suspension, posted the whole Drewski meme of walking out of a penitentiary, I guess, saying he's free. Metcalf said he was looking to come to the stadium last night and party with the guys, but he hit traffic and couldn't make it. Metcalf back in the building today to chants of welcome back from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Also, just to get it out there, DK said he's going to go no comment on the whole Detroit fan situation that got him suspended in the first place, but he's only feeling healthy. He can only feel well-rested and 100%. So you got your starting quarterback who fighting through a bit of an injury, but has overall been playing lights out. Metcalf, well-rested. In defense, I think defense is the most important part of this. When is the last time you can say that Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, all three of those guys up and healthy heading into a playoff game? I can't remember that. It's always one of those guys is dinged up with something. One of those guys is out. But Hayward, Cam, he is only aging like a fine wine. Alex Highsmith is playing maybe the best football of his career over the past month. And TJ Watt putting a lot of us at ease last night, coming off his lung injury, showing he hasn't lost a step in that. He might actually be re-energized by it. Just great stuff from the Steelers. Excited to see what is coming next. But still tonight, we will party some more about that win. Excited to hear from you guys in the comment section. I will stop my monologuing and recap there. We'll get into the winners and losers from that Steelers game last night here in a moment. We'll buzz through those real quickly. But to the comment section, we go here to begin the night. Ton of you in here. Freight Train, Concepts, Stank in here as well. What's going on, you guys? Happy Victory Monday. Enjoy the day today. Back to work tomorrow. God is a Yinzer. Indeed he is there, Stank. I don't lie. God is a Yinzer. That was, by his doing, that loop missed in eerily the exact same fashion that Chris Boswell missed his PAT. The kick looked like it's going straight, and then for some reason it just falls flat like this and then tails off to the right. I have no idea how both of those guys missed those kicks. Quite honestly, I thought for sure that game was destined for overtime, but we still sit here, champions of the AFC North today, getting ready for a playoff game. Freight Train here, or Concepts here. An amazing win. Was up rewatching the game twice before work early. Sleep was not possible. Yeah, that was not in the fold sleeping last night. Still, you just lie there and can't help but look at your phone and see all the reactions to the game, all the partying in the Steelers locker room and all that. Just that game, not even coffee can get you that energized. Definitely an instant classic here, says Stank. Indeed it is. SCSR, look at it this way. If Boz makes the extra point, then the Ravens most likely go for the touchdown. Then the missed kick never happens, all according to the plan. Don't doubt the Wizard of Boz. I know you're going to be a big Boz defender on here, Concepts, but we got to, no matter if you like it or not, we got to have a conversation. Got to start having a conversation about Boz here. Can't be having him, making us feel like he's automatic, nailing 57-yarders like they're nobody's business, and then missing the easiest kick in the most important time of the game. So, love Boz, but come on, don't start that now. Let's figure it out here. Zay Flowers touchdown. Highsmith had his face mask blatantly grabbed. YA being tripped. Muth being grabbed the entire route. Hamilton, blatant PI, etc. But somehow the refs were against the Ravens. Yeah, calls were both ways. Saw people complaining about an illegal shift penalty, complaining about leverage, all of that. But at the end of the day, I think the refs missed calls on both sides, and at the end it was left up to the kickers, and our miss was less critical than theirs. Lance in here. Welcome, Lance. Shout out from Mon Valley. Glad to have you here on a Steelers playoff week. Crazy that we're saying that after the highs and lows we went through last night. Playoff week coming up here for the Steelers. Now let's whoop these Texans, says Stank. Initial read on that matchup. For the Steelers, being a team that hasn't won a playoff game and pushing a decade, I eerily feel confident. I know that the Texans, I think, still have one of the biggest Steeler killers of all because he's now there and not a Brown anymore, Nick Chubb, but their running game hasn't really gotten going at any point this season, and their offensive line, they shipped off Laramie Tunsil, they dropped a former first-round pick in Kenyon Green, and they are just patchworking their offensive line right now, protecting in front of CJ Stroud. They do worry me a little bit because, 9 straight games, and I think Nico Collins could be a big-time threat. And their defense, hell, why did it take me so long to get to their defense? Number 1 in the NFL. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, one of the best, if not the best, pass rushing duo in the entire NFL. The defense, worrying, but if our defense can hold their offense to a little bit less, and if our offense can get a little bit on their defense, I think you could escape with a low-scoring win against the Texans. So we'll break down that matchup as we move along throughout the week here, get more focused on the Texans and what their strengths and weaknesses are. But today, focusing on the dub. We're focusing on the dub, focusing on keeping things all positive and celebrating that win. Like Lance said, here to the 17 of you in here right now. Welcome to all 17 of you. Please hit that like button and subscribe on the way in. Partying here right now tonight, talking about that maybe the greatest game of the season, one of the greatest regular season finales of all times. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think. People are calling it game of the season. The NFL had to wait to game 272 for this game to happen. So, yeah, final game of the year. And maybe the best one of them all. Who knows? Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts on that are. Is it the greatest regular season finale of all time? Let me know as well. Concepts hate night games because I work at 3 a.m., but I love this one for that exact reason. Agree completely. How are you feeling about the game being on Monday night, Concepts? I know you hate night games for your work, but if you're the Steelers, look at it from a positive lens here. We just a couple of weeks ago when the Steelers were playing the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football, we brought up the whole stat of Mike Tomlin never lost a home Monday Night Football game. Also, the Steelers get an extra day of rest to maybe lick a couple of scratches. So, like that. Wonder how you're feeling about that. Hope DK comes back with a vengeance this week. I hope so too. If he does not come out and ball out immediately, then the Steelers might be in a little bit of trouble. He'll definitely draw the attention of one Derek Stingley Jr. and a couple of other fantastic DBs that the Texans have. The Texans also, one thing that bodes well for the Steelers in this matchup early on, I think I saw someone put out there early projection of what the weather will be like next week against the Texans. 17 degrees at kickoff. Frigid, freezing temperature. Even worse than this last night's game. 17 degrees next week. And the Texans, Southern team, playing in a dome, they're going to come up here in that advantage. Steelers in that book. Go in here. Highsmith got paid the large bag and is balling out. Agreed there, Lance. Think Deshaun, assume you're talking about Elliott here, said he can only return for a deep playoff run. Was hoping he could come back this week, but that sounds unlikely, sadly. I think Deshaun would have to take a deep playoff run. Maybe also, I don't want to put anything out here. Maybe you could also hope Darnell Washington could maybe get back if you give him a couple more weeks with a few wins as well. But I'm not holding my breath for any of those things. Their concepts, unfortunately. Hopefully, Elliott. I would take Elliott, honestly, back quicker than Darnell because the offense last night, they showed that they can still operate at a high level without Washington. Elliott, though, you could take one of Chuck Clark or Jabril Peppers off the field and put Elliott out there in their place when one of Kyle Duggar or Jalen Ramsey comes off, I will take that exchange 100 times out of 100. Absolutely get queasy on the inside when you see Chuck Clark out there in pass coverage. I think he had another big play on him last night, given up. So, yeah, Elliott would love to take him back. Scriptwriter definitely kept it interesting indeed. In AR, we believe, says Jake Sadowski here. Welcome, Jake. Yes, we do. In Aaron Rodgers, we believe. Concepts here, catching up on the comments here. Love the extra day. It's like a 1 day bye week, and they're great on Monday nights usually. Break out the color rushes. I would not be opposed to that. The all dark color rushes. Put the Texans in their all white uniforms. I would take that handoff. Hell yeah, I would love that. Stankin here. The cold wind off the river is deadly at Acrisure. Yeah. Wonder, you say that the wind plays a factor. It does. Trust me, it does. But also, the wind, oddly enough, don't think it had any effect on either of those kicks at the end of the game. From hearing people that were there last night, wind, literally nothing when Boz kicked. He was kicking to the open end of the stadium for that miss. So Boz just sliced that one, and then Loop wasn't any sort of wind for him either. Both guys just like a bad golf shot, just sliced it off to the right. Two bad misses at inopportune times. Concepts here. Broken arm might be 4 games, I think. At best, of course, we can only hope for a return at some point. That would also mean can't say it till it happens, LOL. Yeah. Broken arm for Washington. I have a feeling, that's going to keep him out the rest of the season. But Elliott, though, it was an ACL sprain or something like that. If he can fight back and get out there now, 3 months from that injury. Would love to get him back. Lots of great throwback uniforms this week from several teams. Maybe the Broncos' best version. Yeah, I do like the Broncos orange that they wear. 49ers throwbacks, some of the coolest as well from concepts there. 10 of you in here right now. Going to stick with the Steelers for a couple more minutes here before we have to change gears here tonight. Want to get in real quickly to my winners and losers from last night's game. Did not have too much time to put this list together, but hey, I think I got the main guys down. Winner number 1 from last night's game. Put in the comment section who you think is the biggest contributing player in last night's victory. My number 1, pretty easy. Aaron freaking Rodgers. The 42-year-old gunslinger with a broken wrist. I believe completed his 39th, if I remember the stat correctly, 39th game-winning drive of his career. Rodgers last night, unbelievable. 47 pass attempts for him, 31 completions, 294 yards, 1 touchdown. So threw the ball a lot, nearly hit 300 yards passing, 1 touchdown. But how he played in the most important time of the game earns him the victory here with ease. Rodgers in the clutch in the fourth quarter last night, 11 for 14, 133 yards, 1 passing touchdown, a passer rating of 130.1. On 3rd and 4th downs versus Baltimore as well, 8 for 11, 132 yards, that 1 touchdown pass to Calvin Austin, 9 first downs, a 135.4 passer rating. And guess what? Rodgers did all of that, all those stats, including 20 rushing yards from him. He could still scoot a little bit. Rodgers did all that, did all of that clutch work, all of those completions, all of that yardage with a game-winning drive, no turnovers. Did it all without DK Metcalf and every single pass catcher active from a wide receiver. Every single wide receiver active last night, I think, had 53, 54 receptions total on the season. No number 1, and Rodgers still pulling a Houdini act once again, going on an immaculate ending, an immaculate 2 drives to end the game. That is why you brought in the 4-time MVP this offseason, and he showed exactly why he is a 4-time MVP. Showing that at 42, one of the greatest passers of the football, the greatest throwers of all time of a football, he can still do it every now and again. So thank God for Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers also securing his 11th career 10-win season. That breaks a tie with Brett Favre for 3rd most in NFL history. Leaves him behind Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. So Rodgers just adding more and more to his already first ballot Hall of Fame resume. Loser number 1 from last night's game. Hate to do it to you, concepts. I don't. Chris Boswell. Did he make the 57-yarder? Yes. But also, could we not afford that missed extra point? Boswell, 4 straight years without a missed PAT. And he missed it his first in, I think, over 200 PAT attempts, something like that, 140. I forget the exact stat. Boz, over 4 years, did not miss a PAT until the absolute worst time. Thank God Tyler Loop missed because, Loop now takes all the attention away from Boz, but please, Boz, do not do that again, because people would have been very, very upset with you today had you have missed that kick. Winner number 2, I should say winners. The second group of winners that I have from last night's game. Got to go with the 3 big guns up front on the defense last night. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, all 3 of those guys winners in my books. The first guy above the others in this winner category, Cam Hayward. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that put the defense on his back last night. And quite honestly, it might be the greatest game of Cam Hayward's Steelers career. No, he's 36, 37 years old. And Hayward took him, year 12 of his career to put together the performance of a lifetime. Cam, last night for the Steelers, 7 total tackles, 5 of those solo. The stats don't even do him enough justice. Didn't matter where the play was going. If it was a pass or a run, he was always in the picture, on the stop on every single play last night. Every single time you saw Derrick Henry get held to a 3 or a 4 yard, or to a 2 or a 3 yard gain, maybe even half the time no gains, Hayward was there. There was a big, catch down the field, 10, 15 yard gain. Hayward back checking, getting there to help make sure that the play comes to an end. So Hayward, just an absolute beast mode performance from him. He also, Hayward, with his usage last night, he officially, at age 36, led all interior defensive linemen with 823 snaps on the season. 36 played more snaps than any other defensive lineman across the NFL. Incredible. Age, just a number for him. Guess he's taken a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book, saying, hey, age does not define the performance level that you play at. Incredible stuff from number 97, Captain Cam. TJ Watt, also, and Alex Highsmith, those guys winners in this section as well. Watt, like I said, returning from the lung injury, showed really no sort of effects that he had a lung injury. You would have guessed that it was just a normal run-of-the-mill injury. He looked so good out there. Just 2 tackles for Watt, but he was that guy, Johnny on the spot, to get the interception. Watt now, with that interception last night, joins Julius Peppers and Lawrence Taylor as the only players with 100 or more sacks and 9 or more interceptions in a career in NFL history. So Watt putting himself that much higher in putting himself into that much more better company when he inevitably goes to the Hall of Fame one day. Last guy, Alex Highsmith, 2 tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs, 1 pass deflection that resulted in the INT, 1 quarterback hit. Again, Highsmith picked up his play level when TJ Watt went down with injury. When Watt's back now, did not slow down whatsoever. Another good game for number 56. Proves even more the point that I made on the pre-show of that game last night. Highsmith, he has been eating left tackles alive in recent weeks. Doesn't matter if it's, Ronnie Stanley or a backup or anything like that. I kind of honestly wish Laramie Tunsil was still on the Texans right now, because I would want to see what Highsmith does against him. He has been out of this world lately, living up to every single penny that he has made with his contract extension a couple off seasons ago. So congrats to Highsmith, Watt, Hayward, those guys, the leaders of the defense, leading the way once again. The last loser, just doing 2 losers for this game. last loser that I have from last night's game. I hate doing this guy because I absolutely love the mentality he brings. I absolutely hate doing this to him. I love the mentality that he brings. Jalen Ramsey, 6 tackles and a PBU last night, but I mean, gets burnt to a crisp by Devontae Walker of all people, a 4th or 5th wide receiver on the depth chart, a dude who's been a healthy scratch at times for the Ravens this season. Ramsey gets burnt by him, was the guy who was supposed to knock down that big potential game-winning field goal setup catch by Isaiah Likely. Just got to be better for Ramsey in coverage. I will give him a slight pass because he is still, adapting to a full-time safety role, but I mean, cannot be having any sort of faults like this coming up here against the Texans and guys like Nico Collins and Christian Kirk and stuff like that. So let's figure that out there, Jalen. Last winner of the big winners that I have for last night's game, Calvin Austin. He's going to be my final winner. Wide receivers as a whole, another subpar performance from that group, but getting Calvin Austin back after injury, just having a reliable wideout out there was something to put us at ease. And then he goes out there, has a couple of catches, like I mentioned earlier, absolutely cooks Awuzie on this fake hitch route to get the game-winning score. Austin, for that play alone, he's going to make himself a winner. There are also some other, little winners out there for the times he got the ball. Pat Freiermuth, a winner. The offensive line winners, yet again, protected Rodgers pretty well. Also, as the game moved along, got better in run blocking. Nick Herbig, big sack to stop the Ravens' drive from potentially making it a 2-touchdown game immediately. Thought that was huge. Another quiet night for Joey Porter Jr. as well. All in all, overall, majority of guys positives all the way around for the Steelers last night. And now they hopefully take this positivity here into this upcoming game against the Texans. Back to the comment section. You guys getting in a ton of comments during the winners and losers segment there. You guys going with Aaron Rodgers as the number one winner of the game. I absolutely agree with that. Every facet of the team contributed, says Concepts, in the win. Amazing to see. Most complimentary game of the year? Nah. I won't go with the most complimentary game of the year. They did, well, it's up in the air for me. Definitely they played finally a complimentary game for once with a playoff-like, implication on the line. They did play some complimentary football during that 3-game winning streak. That started about a month ago. But down the stretch in crunch time of that game, the third and fourth quarter, you did see complimentary football. When one unit struggled, the other picked it up. Mike Tomlin said so in his post-game press conference. So good stuff from the Steelers. Hopefully this complimentary trend that they have, that we are starting to become accustomed to, hopefully that continues here moving forward into playoffs. Rodgers also, 20 yards rushing, the dime to Thielen indeed was insane. Thomas in here. Welcome, Thomas. Glad to have you back. Good evening, everyone. Got to watch the game on a mountaintop. That is crazy. There's Thomas. Couldn't be in here. Glad we got the win. Super glad I get to watch a playoff game with y'all. Love this channel. Thank you. Appreciate you, Thomas. Thank you for coming back as always. Sounds fun from a mountaintop. You literally got to scream from the mountaintops that the Steelers won. So you literally make that saying a reality. Humberto in here. Welcome, Humberto. I believe this is the first time seeing this commenter in here. So welcome to the channel, Humberto. Please, all of you in here right now, if you have not done so, hit the subscribe button. ChatGPT predicts the Steelers firing Tomlin and hiring a Russian war general as the new head coach of the Steelers. Thank God ChatGPT is not something that I abide to. Go in here. My dad also Cam pushing little bro in for the touchdown. Yeah, I also put Cam in the number 1 spot. Would love him to work on it a little bit. Thought on the one push that they had to begin the game that failed, that he pushed Connor a little bit early. Also, Cam seems to me like he stands way too far behind Connor when the play starts. So fine tune it a little bit, but overall positive stuff there from Cam. The tropical frog that they compared him to on the broadcast last night. TJ also one of 2 players. Yes, Thomas bringing up that stat I had as well. Cam also has more PBUs and pass deflections than most DBs. Yeah, Cam may not have the godly sack totals, but talking about being the best, I have no shame in saying is the best defensive lineman when it comes to getting his hands up and timing up the pass of the quarterback, getting a finger on it at the very least. Yeah, Cam, one of the best at that, and that is why he is still at age 37, 36, one of the best defensive linemen in football. Miles will never do that. Was on a literal mountaintop. Did a 7-mile trip this weekend. Sounds fun there, Thomas. Hope you had a good time. But yeah, don't see Myles Garrett doing any sort of interceptions or anything like that. Trust me, we will get to Myles Garrett here before the show wraps up tonight. Happy Victory Monday here. Houston Texans, not a cold weather team. That plays into the advantage of the Steelers. Just early look here of things that play into the Steelers' favor. They come into this one riding high with adrenaline from the win. They're at home, so they don't need to travel. They are better equipped and better used, I should say, to the weather conditions that'll be there on Monday night. And the game is on Monday night, which they have played outstanding on at home under the Mike Tomlin era. Hope you all are doing well here. Beyond football here today. Miles, the NFL golden boy. Breaking the sack record. Trust me, we will get into that. Don't know the wind chill. Yeah, 26 degrees, but I think the real feel will be about 17. Wind chill. If it's windy, then that might force this game into a war in the trenches on the ground with the running game, which I'd still go advantage Steelers there. I don't believe that the Texans' offensive line is as good as the Steelers, and I'll take the Steelers figuring out how to get things going with their 2 running backs than with the Texans' 2 backs, which they have been injured at that position this year. Looking here, C4 plays that Jalen royally messed up. Again, I will give him a tiny caveat of a reprieve that he is still, this is still for the most of the year his first full-time job at safety. So I'll give him a tiny bit of a reprieve there, but cannot have big mistakes like that go on here when these are win or go home games. Going to be a freezer bowl indeed there, Humberto. Still in shock, says Freight Train. Heard the Texans don't like Cold War tactics, so run the ball off the edge and win, baby. All our long runs have been outside the tackles. Well, Steelers might have extra motivation to do that because you got 2 fantastic edge rushers, one coming off each side. Daniil Hunter on one side, Will Anderson Jr. off the other. So if you're the Steelers, if you want to see what they're made of early, try to limit them from a pass rush standpoint, run right at them. I agree with that tactic there. Freight Train. Thomas here. I did 2 on the miss that I scared all the animals away, saying the thing. Oh my God. Yeah. Go check out the Instagram and Twitter profile of this channel. Posted the reaction of me and my dad in here watching him miss that. Got maybe clip it here after the show here tonight. Yeah, go check out our reaction, Thomas, after the live stream tonight, because I said the same thing. He effing missed it. Screaming at the top of our lungs. I even think this window here might have been open because this room does get pretty warm, so we were letting some cold air in. Our neighbors probably heard us, but as Tomlin said, we do not care. We do not care. We have big advantages this week, says Freight Train. Houston terrible in cold weather, and Steelers have won 23 straight on Monday night. Yeah, I was forgetting the exact number, but I know that Tomlin is undefeated at home on Monday Night Football. Hopefully that undefeated streak continues and that he gets his first official playoff win in about 9 years. Texans struggled with the Raiders a few weeks ago, says Thomas. Texans are on a 9-game win streak, but how legitimate are some of those wins are up for debate. Freight Train getting in here on the Myles Garrett talk and stuff like that. The pitch was the right call to close out the half, but wrong side. Also would have watched the replay. Also had to watch the replay to verify. Yeah, think on that play, that pitch play to end the first half, Rodgers sent a man in motion and no one on the defense moved. That is a big red flag. Hey, it's zone coverage. It's not man coverage. And yet they still ran the pitch. So you knew that, I think it was Alohi Gilman that made the tackle. He did not travel with the guy you put in motion. He just stayed to that side where you were going to pitch the ball. That should have told you right there that, hey, we got to kill this play and go to something else or improvise, something like that. So, yeah, got to be better aware of the situation and what the defense is doing there. Concepts here was walking the dog around the neighborhood after the win, yelling woohoo the whole time. Woke up everyone, I bet. Oh, well, there's always they're always loud too. Yeah, I'm sure all across Western Pennsylvania, you had people waking each other up, partying like we've never partied before. That win was something special that we will talk about for a while here. One of the greatest endings to a football game that we will ever see, especially in this rivalry between the Steelers and the Ravens. 13 of you in here right now, approaching an hour and 15 minutes already on stream here tonight. Want to keep things fairly rolling along here. I know it's probably going to be another, good bit that we remain on here tonight, but do want to get through this one final key storyline from the weekend before we move into the extra Pittsburgh sports news and more comments. Switching gears to another red-hot professional Pittsburgh sports team that had just as much fantastic success as the Steelers this weekend. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they are on a roll right now, to say the least. They went in to the Christmas break limping, blowing multiple leads, not playing 60 minutes of hockey, getting blown out some other nights. Yet, this weekend, they were back in action. I believe they entered the weekend on a 3-game winning streak out of the Christmas break and out of the new year. They continued their good fortune and good play this weekend. As I'm stalling here, I'm trying to bring up the one graphic that I had here, but now I can't find it. There it is, right there. Both Pittsburgh sports teams, by the way, love the Steelers and the Penguins playing off of each other. Penguins wishing good luck to the Steelers. Steelers shouting out the Penguins in return. The Penguins this weekend, 2 games. They were in Detroit on Saturday night to take on the Red Wings. That was game number 2 of a home-and-home series. They beat the Red Wings, I believe, in overtime 2 nights before. And then yesterday, 3 o'clock, they were in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. Real quick recap of those games. The Penguins had Stuart Skinner in net against the Red Wings on Saturday. Penguins made it 1-0 early. Sidney Crosby on his backhand takes it to his forehand and gets a snipe past John Gibson. That made it 1-0. That was Brian Rust doing that. Sidney Crosby with the assist. Quickly became 2-0. Ben Kindle, beautiful middle of the ice pass, springs, new Penguin, still pretty new to the team, Yegor Chinikov, acquired a little over a week ago from the Columbus Blue Jackets. He gets a breakaway, buries his first Penguin goal, 5-hole, making it 2-0. That was the score after one. Was 2-1 after two, though. The Red Wings were able to respond. Alex DeBrincat with the goal. Chris Letang getting trapped in the offensive zone. That sprung a 2-on-1 the other way. However, the Penguins, a clinic of a third period from them, shutting down any sort of opportunity that the Red Wings had of tying up the game. Crosby, with the empty netter, does a phenomenal job to gather the puck, clear it. Ricard Raquel catches up to it. He buries the empty netter. Connor Dewar tacks on another one for good measure. 4-1, the final score Saturday night for the Penguins over Detroit. That is 4 points. 2 wins, 4 points over the Wings. And the Penguins, they down the top team in the Eastern Conference. The Red Wings, one of the best teams in the league. That also came off the heels of the Penguins beating the Metropolitan Division leading Carolina Hurricanes as well. The Penguins now, after that win over the Red Wings, their 4th straight win, they were looking to make it 5 in a row against the Blue Jackets. They had some lineup changes. Ville Koivunen entered into the lineup for Rucker McGroarty. Arturs Shilovs went into net for the second half of the back-to-back weekend series. The Penguins, 1 minute, 50 seconds into the game, back into the lineup, showing that, hey, I don't want to be sent down. Ville Koivunen, he scores. Second career goal for Koivunen. Hell of a shift from him to start the game. He gets rewarded for it. But then 27 seconds, or I should say later on in the first period, 27 seconds apart, the Jackets put in 2 quick goals from Denton Mateychuk and Mason Marchment. The Penguins, through half of that first period, they looked so damn good. So damn good. And then they just fell apart. 2 mistakes, 2 turnovers, lead to a pair of goals. Can't have that if you're the Pens. The first period ended with the Jackets making it a 3-1 lead. Kirill Marchenko with a bit of a sneaky play behind the net, pops out in front of the net and snaps one home from a tight angle. 3-1 after the first period of play. Immediately out of the first intermission to begin the second period, Zach Werenski from far out makes it 4-1. Penguins looked like they were in trouble of getting ran out of the building. Kind of almost similar to what the Steelers looked like to begin last night's football game. But then, like the Steelers, the Penguins, midway through the game, from about the 10-minute mark of the second period onwards, they flipped the switch, and it was a one-sided hockey game. The ice tilted, and it was no contest for the rest of the game. You had Nola Chari. He was able to get one back with a little over 3 minutes to go in the second period. The Penguins kept fighting hard to begin the third period. They scored on the power play with 2:06 left in the third. That was Tommy Novak getting the goal, a snipe from the slot. And then the Penguins, they pull the goalie, 6-on-5 man advantage. Ricard Raquel off a tic-tac-toe play with 13.7 seconds left in regulation, ties up the game. The game goes to overtime, and then in OT, the Penguins, they regroup out at center ice on the 3-on-3. Tommy Novak goes off for a change, and the sly fox, Silver Fox, Sidney Crosby, comes off the far end of the bench behind the Jackets' defense. They don't realize that Crosby came on. Erik Karlsson hits him. Half breakaway for Crosby. Deeks, the goaltender, Jet Greaves, out of his skates. Goes backhand, 5-hole goal. Karlsson, the defenseman with the most overtime points in NHL history, to Crosby. who has the most points in NHL history. The two most clutch ever overtime performers connect on the game-winning goal. 5-4, the final score. The Penguins, 5 wins in a row, winning each of those games in remarkable fashion. On Saturday night against the Red Wings was a true shutdown performance. I forgot to mention about that Red Wings game. The Penguins in that game only allowed 12 shots the entire game. Sometimes, actually, half the time in NHL games, you'll see teams get 12 shots in the first period, let alone the entire game. The Pens, in over 2,200 road games, have never held a team to just 12 shots. Yet they did that Saturday night against the Red Wings. That a dominating performance. And then they become the comeback cardiac, I would say kids, but, still a fairly old NHL roster, at least at the top for the Stars. But a dominating win and a comeback win for the Penguins. That makes it 5-0 for them out of the holiday break. This is the first time that the Penguins have had a 5-game win streak since 2023. They are the best record team. They have the best record and the most points out of the holiday break since Christmas. First in wins, first in points, second in goals per game at 5, first in goal differential, fourth in goals against average, sixth in power play percentage. On a roll right now. The Pens they're being led by their captain, Sidney Crosby, who Crosby today named the second star of the week across the entire NHL. I have no idea how he was not number one. Crosby, over the past week, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points, a couple of game winners mixed in there. Sid now up to, I believe, 47 points on the season through 41 games, on pace for 94 points at the age of 38. This is truly incredible stuff. It's like kicking a dead horse for me, but I keep saying it, and every single week when I say the same thing, Crosby only backs it up. He could be the Tom Brady of NHL hockey, where he plays well into his 40s, and you barely see any sort of decline in his game. The speed, the physical stuff may go eventually, but the playmaking, the hockey IQ, the production, clearly not going anywhere for Sid. Second star of the week in the NHL, 8-point week for him, on pace for 94 points. The Penguins comeback win yesterday. The Steelers, a back and forth instant classic with the Ravens last night. Have a hell of a Sunday. Maybe even one of the best, if not the best Sunday in memory for Pittsburgh sports fans. Truly grateful for it. Truly, truly grateful for it. 12 of you in here right now. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in a minute. And if you don't mind, I'm going to now, in pushing an hour and a half into stream here tonight, take my first drink break of the night. Also on stream for nearly 4 hours last night, screaming for most of it. Surprised I even have a voice today. Got NFL Network on over here. To my right, the Insiders, Ian Rappaport on my screen right now. Not so much, I think, talking about... don't think they're talking so much about last night's game. They're instead talking about it being Black Monday, multiple firings, and head coaches getting let go of around the league here today, including a head coach getting relieved of duty in division right in our back door, right in our backyard. So we will talk about that here coming up to begin the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in a moment. To the comment section, we go again here, trying to see where we left off. Thomas here, puffing my victory cigar now. Glad to have that. Smoke that victory cigar there. Thomas. It's almost like that one rest in peace Bozo Pack meme that you see with what is it, Michael Jordan or something puffing a big cigar. Good night and God bless from Humberto. Thank you for stopping by, Humberto. If you ever come back to this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Freight Train here. I think we score there with the fake tush push thing they've done a few times going off that edge from Hayward. Yeah, other than that pitch play to Gainwell that didn't work, I would have done the tush push. I would have even, handed the ball off to Jalen Warren. Human wrecking, human bowling ball, constantly falling forward, getting yards after contact. Would have trusted him more than anything else really on that play. Imagine a fake to Cam for the rushing touchdown. Connor just, takes the snap, hands it off to Cam. Cam runs like a jet sweep out to the right and gets it into the end zone. At that point, just put Cam in the backfield and let him rumble forward. I would love to see number 97 get in for a touchdown. Go in here up to Thomas Dowdy talking all about the Penguins. Freight Train doing the same here. Koivunen looked great. Getting the puck off his stick faster and his shots will help him start lighting up the lamp. Yeah, Koivunen still playing some minor league hockey, at least from a shot perspective. Dusts off the puck a little bit too much. I guess now he's hopefully starting to catch on like, hey, when that puck gets on your stick, you got to get it off immediately to, have a chance of tickling the twine here. So would love to see Koivunen now after some time spent in the press box get going a little bit. Another thing, got to the mountains Tuesday, somewhere between 3,700 and 4,200 feet up in the Appalachians. Wow. Their Freight Train going up there Tuesday. Good luck to you and your travels, Freight Train. My dad here, Crosby just plays on. That's all he does. That whole, it's not a meme, but it's a resume that people put out there. No scandals, no allegations, just pure player. That's exactly what Sidney Crosby is. Just plays at a different level than everyone else. Thinks the game at a different level. Studies it at a different level. When he's out there, thinks it and plays it at a different level. Indeed. Crosby's the GOAT from Thomas Dowdy there. Indeed he is. Have the 87 GOAT shirt that you've seen here on the channel a few times. Don't have it here tonight, representing the Steelers, of course, but maybe we'll break that out here in the coming days. 15 of you in here right now. Going to begin to slowly wrap up the show here tonight with some extra Pittsburgh sports news. Did not have too much time to really organize any of this extra Pittsburgh sports news, so we are going to bounce around a little bit here. Going to start with some football in the extra Pittsburgh sports news. I just mentioned a moment ago the insiders going on over here to my right on NFL football. Black Monday is today. Head coaches around the NFL all getting fired. One of those, I think, 5 or so firings over the past 24 hours happening right in our own backyard. The Cleveland Browns, even though they ended the season on, I think, a winning streak of some kind, they have fired head coach Kevin Stefanski, 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, the only coach to get Cleveland to playoff success in the past 25 years. He exits Cleveland with a 45-56 record in 6 seasons. Honestly, Stefanski, I respect Stefanski. I think he's a half-decent coach. He just so happened to be employed by the biggest football hell organization, second to maybe the Jets, maybe even first over the Jets. It's a tie there between those two. But Stefanski, he is out in Cleveland. Wish him the best of luck wherever he goes, hopefully away from the AFC North, maybe the AFC North all in all. He is getting expected to take interviews with the Falcons, Giants, and Titans for their head coaching vacancies. So we will see if Stefanski winds up at any of those spots. Another potential firing that could have happened, but we now know will not. Zach Taylor will remain in place with the Cincinnati Bengals as expected. He and player personnel director Duke Tobin will not go anywhere. So more Zach Taylor, the guy who only wins with Joe Burrow and cannot do crap without Joe Burrow. He stays in Cincinnati for at least one more year. Speaking of Cincinnati and Cleveland, told you guys that we would be coming back to it. Myles Garrett breaking, I put it in the biggest air quotation marks ever, breaking the NFL sack record yesterday afternoon against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. That is sack 23 on the season for Garrett. There's even a absolutely hideous Bleacher Report graphic out there of TJ Watt and Michael Strahan taking the knee at the throne of Myles Garrett. Just absolutely horrendous. But remember, it's not really a record breaking for Myles Garrett for multiple reasons. First off, he was awarded a absolutely nothing burger of a half sack versus the Buffalo Bills a few weeks ago. And this one here, this video, I'm watching it again right now. Garrett taking down Joe Burrow. Brett Favre, he no longer should be criticized for taking a dive for Michael Strahan because Burrow must think it's the Summer Olympics of the way he just flopped like a baby deer on ice. Absolutely pathetic from Burrow. Could have easily stayed on his feet and escaped out. And also, the Browns want to throw it in our face. TJ Watt, not only did he tie the record in 2 fewer games, he technically broke it because of a poor call on Tyler Huntley, who clearly was looking to make a play after a terrible snap. Watt tied the record in 2 fewer games, technically broke it in all of our opinions. And also, it took TJ 15 games out of the schedule, missed 2 games to injury. Took him 15 games and only 393 pass rush snaps to tie the record. It took Myles Garrett 2 extra games and 477 more snaps for him to break the record by a measly half a sack that he shouldn't have gotten in the first place. Big caveats, big asterisks all over that record for Garrett. And we'll remember that. But that's okay, because Watt, apparently he's an iron lung now. He'll break it, or Nick Herbig will break it. Someone like that will do it before we know it. Some other loose end news stories related to the Steelers over the past couple of days. The Steelers now know who owns the number 1 pick for the draft that they will be hosting here in a couple of months. Kenny Pickett, Kenneth Shane Pickett, and the Las Vegas Raiders are now on the clock. They lost again yesterday. They have clinched the number 1 overall pick. Godspeed to Fernando Mendoza, who will be drafted first overall to the Raiders here in Pittsburgh in a little over 100 days. A couple other things here. Loose end things related to the Steelers tonight. We mentioned this before the game yesterday and said we would get into it a little bit today, but now after the Steelers won, I'm not sure how much of this is going to ring true. Really, over the weekend, tons of rumors and speculations from fans and legitimate NFL reporters popped up about the Steelers potentially preparing for a future without Mike Tomlin. There were reports out there from the Diana Rossini and Albert Breers of the world that the Steelers were looking at Chris Shula, defensive coordinator of the Rams, and even Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's head coach. The Steelers had internal discussions about some of those gentlemen being the next Steelers head coach in case Mike Tomlin were to not be the Steelers head coach in 2026. Tomlin also, according to a report from Tony Pauline, said that if he wanted to go into TV or something and the Steelers were to be knocked out of the playoffs by the Ravens, that he would, to return as coach in 2027, would want to ask for a stake of ownership in the team, which I thought that was a really, really crazy report. Ultimately, though, I think these reports become, just disintegrated. Steelers won. They're heading to the playoffs. I don't think Tomlin's going anywhere. I think we can damn near write that in Sharpie. Adam Schefter said that there is no feeling that Tomlin is going to get moved on. If Tomlin were to move on, it be by him and by his alone decision. So expect Tomlin to be back here in 2026 and probably even 2027. The Ravens, though, that's a different story. This was also before the game yesterday. John Harbaugh, like Tomlin, not likely to get let go of in the offseason, but his seat is getting warmer, according to Adam Schefter, and that, this feeling of security in his job could now be a little bit shaky if the Ravens lose, which they did. Last few things here on the Steelers. Bringing this one up here. The Steelers, with their win over the Ravens last night, we now know their 2026 opponents. We just don't know when they play these opponents. Home games in 2026, of course, the three division rivals, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, coming to Acrisure Stadium in 2026. The Atlanta Falcons, South team in a dome, plays into the Steelers' advantage. The Carolina Panthers, another fairly South team. The Denver Broncos, that should be an interesting matchup. The team that they will be playing here on Monday night, the Houston Texans. We're going to have a rematch of this wild card game next season at some point in Pittsburgh. And then the Indianapolis Colts, who came to Pittsburgh earlier this season. Steelers did pretty well, turning Daniel Jones back into Danny Dimes. So those are the home games for the Steelers. The away games. Steelers, of course, their annual treks to Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. The Steelers, they will go south four times, actually. They will head to Jacksonville, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Flacco Country, and Tennessee. Those four places they are traveling down south. They will also head back to New England, back at Gillette Stadium, just like they were in Week 3 this season. And the Keystone State rivalry renewed. Steelers going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles in 2026. So, home games. Steelers will host the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Falcons, Panthers, Broncos, Texans, and Colts. They will travel to Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Jacksonville, New England, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee. Those are the Steelers' opponents. Some other things related to the Steelers. The current playoff bracket, not sure if I mentioned that at all yet. Beyond the Steelers-Texans matchup, the other playoff matchups that we will get to watch this weekend heading into Monday night. The Buffalo Bills travel down to Jacksonville on Sunday afternoon. The LA Chargers, I believe, play the New England Patriots on Sunday night. The San Francisco 49ers out in the NFC now, we're talking about. The 49ers travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, I believe, Sunday evening. The Carolina Panthers and LA Rams, they play Saturday evening. That game in Carolina. The Panthers getting in by the skin of their teeth with the Falcons getting a win. And then the Saturday night matchup, I believe, is the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago. So Steelers, Ravens, NFC edition in prime time as well. The two teams with byes, the Seahawks claiming the number 1 seed out in the NFC, the Broncos awaiting whoever the lowest seed is for the AFC side of things. If the 2 and 3 seeds in the AFC, the Patriots and Jaguars, should they win, they will play each other. And then that will leave, if the Steelers win, they will travel out mile high to Denver. Last few things here on the Steelers, again, bouncing all over the place here with these of what all went down this weekend. Interesting report. This was literally right before kickoff last night from Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He viewed by some as the reporter that is most tied in with Art Rooney. He said that tonight's game is a referendum, or last night's game was a referendum for Aaron Rodgers to come back in 2026. His exact quote right here. I will tell you that there will be no referendum if the Steelers lose. The Steelers are not going to bring back Aaron Rodgers in 2026. They brought him in because they wanted to get a quarterback that can not only get them into the postseason, but maybe win a playoff game after the 8-year drought they are currently in. So that won't be much of a discussion at all. Now, if they win, that's another story. But what I will tell you is if they do win and Aaron Rodgers does want to come back, it's not going to change what their intention is in the NFL draft. That intention is still to try to find a quarterback for the future. How things plays out with Rodgers. If the Steelers win tonight, we shall see. But it's not going to change what they want to do or what they would like to do in the draft. So Rodgers, 50-50. I take that from Jerry Dulac that he comes back in 2026. But even with this weak quarterback class where it's Fernando Mendoza, space, Dante Moore, space, and then the whole rest of the guys, Steelers apparently still all in on taking a quarterback, according to Jerry Dulac. Last few things here on the Steelers. The Steelers bringing in Aaron Rodgers. Thank God they did that, by the way. And I would love to bring him back again. This is crazy here. Steelers making the right choice, sticking with Rodgers. Yesterday, 4 former Steelers threw passes. Mitch Trubisky threw a pass for the Buffalo Bills. Kenny Pickett, who started for the Raiders. Chris Oladokun, 7th-round pick for the Steelers, who didn't play a single regular season snap, maybe played one preseason series for the Steelers. He started for the Kansas City Chiefs. And wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski threw a pass on a trick play for the Giants yesterday. Those 4 gentlemen throwing passes, yet the 2 starting quarterbacks for the Steelers last year, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, collecting dust on the sideline, fighting for their NFL careers. Tell me that Rodgers was not the right pick all along. We just did not want to believe it when it happened. That is absolutely insane. Fields and Wilson benched, do not throw a single pass, but 4 others, 3 quarterbacks and a wide receiver, indeed throw a pass yesterday. Crazy, crazy stuff. Believe that just about is going to wrap up the extra Steelers news here today. The Steelers, by the way, forgot to mention this stat. They now have recorded 3 consecutive seasons of going 10-7 or better. Their starting quarterbacks in that time span, some we just mentioned: Pickett, Trubisky, Rudolph, Fields, Wilson, and Rodgers. So I guess congratulations to Mike Tomlin on that. The last thing here, sort of tying this into a transition here. Glad to see that even though the hometown kid does not play here anymore, he's still hanging around. David Bednar in the house last night for Steelers versus Ravens. I bet he had a grand old time. So glad to welcome Bednar back to the Berg. I'm using the mention of Bednar as a crappy transition into some Pittsburgh Pirates talk. First time mentioning them here tonight. The Pirates, they in the news over the past few weeks with free agency going on. They made 2 big additions already this offseason, trading for second baseman Brandon Lau and then signing to a 2-year deal designated hitter and first baseman Ryan O'Hearn. The Pirates, 2 big bats, in my opinion and everyone else's opinion, to become a legit contender for the playoffs. They needed to add 3 big bats to their lineup. They were apparently all in on one player, but that player officially off the market. Kazuma Okamoto, third baseman from Japan, 29-year-old. Pirates, for 95% of this whole saga of where Okamoto is going to sign, 95% of the way, they were in the lead with the best offer for Okamoto. Honestly, they, at the end of this, probably still had the best offer for Okamoto. But throughout the majority of this speculation of where Okamoto was going, the Pirates were the favorites. And then, at the last second, one of baseball's blue blood, high-spending organizations came in and swooped him up. Okamoto signing a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, a couple of things about this whole thing that I want to point out. Kind of odd how the Pirates came in as a close second or something, saying that he was unlikely to sign in Pittsburgh as the clock was winding down. But this Okamoto contract, 4 years, $60 million. When I saw that, I'm like, all right, why the hell did Okamoto not stay out on the West Coast like we suspected if he wasn't going to sign with the Pirates? Also, this contract, 4 years, $60 million. We just saw another Japanese player represented by the same agent as Okamoto sign a 3-year deal where it had an opt-out after every year. So I'm like, okay, this 4-year, $60 million thing. The agent, Scott Boras, must have done the same thing, saying Okamoto's going to have an option to get out of the contract after every single season. In that case, I wouldn't have blamed the Pirates for not doing that at all. But then we found out that there are no opt-outs in Okamoto's deal, in that it is a straight-up 4-year, $60 million deal with a $5 million signing bonus. That stings. That stings there if you're the Pirates. Honestly, 4 years, $60 million. That was the projected contract for Okamoto. I'm pretty sure the Pirates went up to that mark. I personally, just to make sure that you get the guy, because not really all that confident that you're going to get anybody else that's, going to be a solid contributor bat to the lineup on the open market right now. I would have given Okamoto 80. But hey, that's just me. Okamoto, though, I wonder if he had, both offers on the table. And unfortunately is the way things are in baseball right now. And it's unfortunately also the Pirates doing that they are viewed so poorly. If Okamoto had the same contract, 4 years, $60 million on the table from both the Pirates and the Blue Jays, going to the Blue Jays was pretty much a no-brainer. because the Blue Jays, one win away from a World Series championship. Meanwhile, the Pirates, viewed still as one of the cheapest organizations in all of baseball. Is the baseball economy a part of that? Yes. I think a cap definitely needs to be put on along with a floor. Don't bite my head off, you mega market defenders out there. We do need a floor to go with a cap, but ridiculous. The rich keep getting richer. The Pirates tried valiantly to get Okamoto, but he joins the perceived better team, even though it's the same amount of money. Also, not sure how taxes up in Canada play into this, but I'm sure that played a role too. Overall, now looking at what's next here for the Pirates, I need them to pivot now in a big way. I love Jared Triolo, love his defense work, but after going all in on Okamoto, you cannot stop here and go in with Triolo and Nick Gonzalez as your opening day left side of your infield. You've got to pivot now to something big. You added Lowe, O'Hearn, and Mangum. You got a left fielder, a DH, and a second baseman. That filled up those holes. Third baseman, still glaring issue right now. So, my opinion, one guy on the open market I want right now in a bad way. That is Eugenio Suarez. Suarez, 35 bombs, most at the position last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Seattle Mariners. Mariners made a deep playoff run as well. Apparently now Suarez, according to Jason Mackey of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, is of interest to the Pirates. So that is one guy that I would love to see the Pirates go after. Also, here, the Pirates, this, I think, or where did I just lose it a moment ago? The Pirates also in on another name that I was not going to expect them to be in on. Jim Bowden of MLB Network says that he is hearing whispers the Pirates could be interested in outfielder and first baseman Cody Bellinger. Few things on that. Bellinger, I put him in the camp of Kyle Tucker or a Bo Bichette, saying he is not coming to Pittsburgh. That is a guy who is going to sign a big contract, and you aren't even going to come close to signing him. So I want to get that out of our mind right now. But also, the Pirates really are interested in him. Then another left-handed bat. We need a right-handed bat more than we do a left-handed bat in the lineup. You got two solid left-handed bats in O'Hearn and Lau on top of your two best players from last year's lineup who are lefties as well, Cruz and Brian Reynolds, who's a switch hitter. So got to add a righty with some pop. Suarez provides that. I would love for the Bucks to do that. Another reason why the Bucks need to go get Suarez is that I believe with the taking on the salary of Lau and O'Hearn, adding those two salaries to the books, the Pirates really haven't gained any sort of increase in payroll from last year's roster. Those contracts, they only filled in the money opened up from the Key Brian Hayes and David Bednar trades from a couple of from the trade deadline. So please, let's shift to Suarez here. Get your one last big bat. I'd throw the same contract as a starting point that you just gave to Okamoto to Suarez. Bring him in here for a few years. Let him rake at third base. I don't care what his glove is like. You just need bat production in any way that you can get it. So please, let's not have this, same payroll BS stuff, moving money out to bring money in. Let's legitimately out of here. Get up over 100 mil. Get Suarez. Ben Sherrington, if you can hear me, please, for all that is holy, get it done. Last couple things here on the Buccos here tonight. Paul Skeens connecting football and baseball here. Paul Skeens and his girlfriend, Livy Dunn, and his best friend, also a Pirate pitcher, Jared Jones. They had fun in Buffalo this weekend, meeting with Josh Allen. They then went to the Buffalo Bills game. All three of those guys together, they made quite a few headlines there. Seeing if there's anything else here that I had on the Buccos related to the Pirates. Oh, this one. Just today. New from related to the Pirates. The Milwaukee Brewers making a number of changes to their coaching staff, including hiring former Pirate player and coach Daniel Vogelbach as hitting coach. Danny Burgers, now the hitting coach at one of the division rivals in the NL Central of the Pirates. I like the hire for the Brewers. What I mean when I say that is that, well, yeah, Vogelbach's a likable guy. He also played for the Brewers. But what I like for it is that the Pirates last year, they were absolutely horrendous with the bats. I think that still falls on the hitting coaches. Vogelbach was a part of that staff. And really, can anybody name me one specific task or detail of the job that Vogelbach had? Felt like he was a dude just there for the vibes. So Daniel Vogelbach didn't do all that much for the Bucks last year, but now he goes to the Brewers. Talk about failing upwards there. Good luck to him. And I think that does it for the Pirates news. Not seeing anything else on them. For the Penguins, extra Pittsburgh sports news related to them. I'm not seeing anything from them. We pretty much just talked about. Actually, I do see one last thing here for the Pirates. MLB Network, MLB.com, doing a awards prediction for 2026. They have Pirate manager Don Kelly as a manager of the year in the National League for 2026. I hope him winning manager of the year means that the Pirates make the postseason, which I'd be a-okay with. Like I said, back to the Penguins here to wrap up the show. Just one story for the Penguins here today, and that is on a trade they made last week. They acquired defenseman Igor Zamula from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Philip Tomasino. Zamula was supposed to report to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins and ultimately did not. After 3 days, this came down on Saturday. Zamula was suspended by the Penguins for not showing up to Wilkes-Barre, and now today that suspension has been lifted. Why has it been lifted? Because Zamula being placed on waivers today for contract termination. So that is it for the Igor Zamula era for the Penguins. 13 of you still hanging around in here. Going to get to your comments to wrap the show here in a minute. Before we do that, going to take one stroll here through Twitter before we log off this evening. A couple of Pittsburgh Steeler things I am seeing here. Apparently the Steelers are waiving corner Trey Flowers, who was brought in here for insurance purposes with James Pierre and Brandon Eccles banged up. Now that Eccles and Pierre are back, Trey Flowers, after 2 weeks with the Steelers, is getting let go of. Also, congratulations to Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. Both of those guys going over 1,000 all-purpose yards each this season. Awesome stuff from the Steelers 1A, 1B running backs. Seeing a funny post here. CJ Stroud, a man of God, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers Holy Water defense on Monday night. And it's the John Cena Rock WrestleMania graphic there. That is hilarious. George Pickens, who is going to be watching the playoffs from his couch with the Dallas Cowboys, showing some love with an Instagram post on Calvin Austin's touchdown, I see. Any other news here going on for the Steelers? Big bat that was put on waivers by the Cleveland Guardians, Jhonkensy Noel, outfielder with some pure raw power. He is claimed by the Baltimore Orioles. The 1,000 all-purpose yards here broken down now. Jaylen Warren, nearly 1,300 all-purpose yards. Kenneth Gainwell just getting over 1,000 yards at 1,023. Also, talk about Brandon Echols here for a second. I bet Brandon Echols loves being a Pittsburgh Steeler because the New York Jets, they finished the season yesterday going the full season without recording a single interception. That is insane. Looking here, not seeing much of anything else, so I think that is just about going to do it. This whole Eugenio Suarez interest from the Pirates, from Jason Mackey of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, apparently now it's reaching MLB Network. MLB Network posting ago a retweet of what Mackey said, quote, "With Okamoto off the board, attention will shift to Eugenio Suarez. If it wasn't already there, the 34-year-old makes plenty of sense too. The Pirates have kept tabs on Suarez and remained interested, though it's hard to say they're the favorites to land the two-time All-Star." Outside of that quote, one thing that does maybe give the Pirates a leg up in the interest of Suarez. Suarez, when he began his MLB career, played with Donnie Kelly, Pirates manager, on the Detroit Tigers when Kelly was wrapping up his career, so a little bit of overlap there. Would love to have Okamoto, or would love to have Suarez on the Bucks, but to be honest, until I see these bigger insiders, your John Heymans and Mark Feinsands of the world saying that the Pirates legitimately have a shot, I am going to keep my expectations and stuff like that pretty low right now. And on cue, I see a video of Suarez hitting a grand slam in the semifinals of the playoffs. Looking here, seeing if there is anything else. Don't think that is that I'm seeing anything here. So going to wrap up the show here in a moment with your comments. Looking here, where'd you guys leave off here in the comments? Gonna just start here and keep going. 30 million, maybe more than he would have ever made elsewhere the whole career. This concept's, I guess, talking about Fields. Yeah, I mean, he's heading to backup territory for the rest of his career at this point. Agree with Freight Train. Believe in Will Howard. Rogers had said how he liked working and mentoring Howard. Also has said Howard's been like what's the term of gym rat? A film rat, always in the facility. Needs a fair chance. Flacco, awesome. Represent when you're off on your ventures. Looking here at your other comments. Japan guy got 60, never playing an inning here. Bell getting 200 plus for sure. Yeah, Bellinger is going to get big money. Okamoto, I mean, I think what the Pirates had going for them up until the end was he was going to get the third base job upon signing the doc, but now he goes up to Toronto. You got Guerrero Jr. at first base. You got Andres Jimenez in the infield, Ernie Clement as well. Okamoto, I guess, could play third base, but if they bring back Bo Bichette, that puts him in a platoon role with Clement and others. So, not sure how that playing time's going to go out. Freight Train with a valid comment here. Also nice, too. Very, very nice. Me and my family at a Pirate game got to meet with her briefly. The nice character in person that you see online is the same person in the flesh. So all around, Skeen's got a good one. Got to hold on to her. Could be the next Justin Verlander and Kate Upton. More here on the comments before we wrap up and on cue as I finally see my dad's comment there. Yes, indeed, we did meet Livy. Guy on the Pens picked up Flyers, failed to report. Still hasn't. Yep. And now he is gone. Contract getting terminated. He is out the door. If I had to guess, he probably goes overseas somewhere to continue his NHL career. Looking else here. Any other comments here? Think that is it. Film Junkie. Yeah, there you go, Concept. You got it. Film Junkie. Facility Rat. Facility Mouse. That's Will Howard. Want to see him get the opportunity. I think the Blue Jays, yeah, they're out on Bichette. Where Bichette goes, probably be the Phillies or the Dodgers, knowing some BS big market club like that's going to get him. Pirates, honestly, I would have loved to get Bichette because to end the season, you had Jared Triolo and Nick Gonzalez as your middle infielders when Triolo wasn't playing at third base. And just thinking about, before we traded for Brandon Lau, I would have loved to see Bichette come to Pittsburgh, start out at shortstop, and then he said he is open to transitioning to second base. Then when Connor Griffin arrives, you move Bichette over to second base, Griffin at shortstop. Boom. You have one of the best middle infields in baseball for the next 2 to 3 years before you got to make a decision on Paul Skeen's futures. Yeah, Yanks, Phils, Dodgers, Rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees picked him up because Anthony Volpe is garbage. My sister, she watches a few extra New York Yankees games on the side because she likes Aaron Judge, and Volpe is garbage. Yep, we'll end it there with that comment from Concepts. We'll end it right there with that absolute zinger of a quote from Coach Tomlin. My aunt had male parts. She'd be my uncle. I guess that's his version of people of that one. What is it? Was it Diddy that said it? The whole people were asking me what would I do if I failed. I guess we'll never know. That's Tomlin's version of that. You think he gets a $500 million? Bichette? Doubt it with the knee injury he's coming off of that he fought through just to play in the playoffs. 3 and in between 3, 4, we'll see. But we'll get there. We'll get his money somehow, some way. I think that's where we're going to wrap up the stream here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. One last subscriber check and see in the comment from Pops there, up to 680 subscribers on the road to 700 subscribers. Maybe we'll reach 700 this week, and maybe we'll reach 700 around this time next week, hoping for a big crowd for Steelers versus Texans in the wild card round. So on stream for over 2 hours tonight. That now brings us up to over 6 hours over the past 24 hours streaming here. So going to wrap things up there. Going to get some rest, but we will be back here tomorrow. We'll talk about the Tomlin press conference and a whole bunch of other stuff going on around Pittsburgh sports. We'll see what happens moving on throughout the week. So thank you all for stopping by. Appreciate the kind words and the support as always. Rands, nice to see you before we wrap up here tonight. Back here tomorrow to talk about the Tomlin press conference and anything else that goes on in the Pittsburgh sports world. On your way out, please hit that subscribe button. turn on notifications, like this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment in the comment section. Thoughts, questions, opinions that you have after the fact, put those in the comment section. I can respond to you guys there. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can check out the video I put out about mine and my dad's reaction to the missed field goal last night on Instagram and Twitter. And tune back in at some point later tonight, not sure when, for a new edition of SCSR 60. I'm sure that will be a wild one as well. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Victory Monday. Now that you actually have a little bit of time for the rest of the night and it's not pushing midnight, all of us will go and celebrate this Victory Monday, celebrate this Steelers win, celebrate the Pittsburgh Penguins as well, being one of the hottest teams in hockey right now. We'll celebrate tonight, come back here tomorrow, and refocus in as we get ready for the Steelers wild card matchup at home versus the Houston Texans. Have a good rest of your Victory Monday. Back here tomorrow. Peace.